Hey, it's Brett, and thanks for stopping by or returning to my channel. Today, I want to give a preview of some of the big books that are coming out in September, some that are just plain interesting to me, but overall, a really interesting group as we head into this big fall season. So stick around. All right, so before we start, I just wanted to talk about one thing really quick, which is I'm very excited in adaptation news. It was announced this week that Sally Field is in negotiations to play the lead role in the Netflix adaptation of Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I can't imagine a more perfect person for this role. And if you read it, I love your opinion about it. But as a casting director, I would say I give my big stamp of approval on this. I think it's amazing casting. So I'm really excited about that. Really excited to see who they cast as the octopus. Well, it'll honestly be interesting to see what they do with that, if they're going to make it a CGI thing. I'm also interested to see how they'll do that whole thing anyway, if they're going to try to get into the mind of Marcellus. I don't know. The whole thing is very interesting, but that's for somebody else to deal with. But again, very exciting news. So, all right, today I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books that I want to go over with you that are coming out this month. Some of them I'm just absolutely crazy excited for, and some I just don't know because I've never read the person or whatever. So September 3rd is a huge kickoff. There are so many books that are coming out that day, and the majority of this vlog will be talking about those books. So the first is Small Rain by Garth Greenwell, which is about a poet whose life is turned literally upside down by an intense, horrible pain and goes into the hospital and what happens. And it's about the medical system, the American medical system. This has already got, I saw a starred review on Kirkus. It's getting great reviews. And of course, it's Garth Greenwell. So I'm sure at the very least, it will be beautifully written, but I'm really excited for this one. All right, next up is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. This is about 4 sisters, one of whom dies, and the other 3 kind of all come together and family secrets come up. I have not yet read, as I said before, Cleopatra and Frankenstein, but I'm really excited for this one. And I've heard nothing but good things, and I think there's a lot of people who were such fans of her first book, so excited about that. Then another book I've never read was The Road to Dalton by Shannon Bowring, and now the sequel, Where the Forest Meets the River, is coming out, so now I feel like I have to read the first one. Do you ever do that? Do you ever kind of miss the first book? I'm doing the same thing with the Abby DeRay book, the sequel that just came out, the sequel to The Girl with the Latin Voice, and then I'm like, oh, I have to read that. Some ways it's like a reminder, and I don't know why I haven't, because it seems so up my alley. They're set in Maine, but I'm going to really try to prioritize this and read it. But yeah, so this comes out as well on the 3rd. It says well, I don't even want to read it because if you didn't read the first, now I'm like, I don't want to give it away. Okay, so there we go. And I probably just gave away the first book for myself. Okay, The Life Impossible by Matt Haig. I loved The Midnight Library. So this is the remarkable next novel from Matt Haig. What looks like magic is simply a part of life we don't understand yet. When retired math teacher Grace Winters is left a rundown house on a Mediterranean island by a long-lost friend, curiosity gets the better of her. She arrives in Ibiza with a one-way ticket, no guidebook, and no plan. Among the rugged hills and golden beaches of the island, Grace searches for answers about her friend's life and how it ended, but what she uncovers is stranger than she could have dreamed. But to dive into this impossible truth, Grace must first come to terms with her past. Filled with wonder and a wild adventure, this is a story of hope and the life-changing power of a new beginning. I think it sounds really good. Love this cover. Sign me up. Color Television by Danzy Senna. I'm sure a lot of you lit types know this, but Danzy Senna is actually married to Percival Everett. And if you didn't know, you do now. So this is a riveting and exhilarating novel about making art and selling out. That little blurb is from this new author named Rahman Alam. I don't know why I do these stupid jokes. Anyway, I've never read any Danzy Senna, but I'm very excited about this. Jane has high hopes that her life is about to turn around. After a long, precarious stretch, bouncing among sketchy rentals and sublets, she and her family are living in luxury for a year, house sitting in the hills above Los Angeles. The gig magically coincides with Jane's sabbatical, giving her the time and space she needs to finish her second novel, a centuries-spanning epic her artist husband Lenny dubs her mulatto War and Peace. Finally, some semblance of stability and success seems to be within her grasp. But things don't work out quite as hoped. Desperate for a plan B, Jane turns to her gaze to Hollywood when she finagles a meeting with Hampton Ford, a hot producer with a major development deal. He seems excited to work with a real writer, and together they begin to develop the Jackie Robinson of biracial comedies. Things finally seem to be going right for Jane until they go terribly wrong. Funny, piercing, and page-turning, colored television is Senna's most ambitious, on-the-pulse, and rewarding novel yet. Okay, so those were my groupings for September 3rd. Now we're moving on to September 10th, and I just have one book, which is called Bright Eye Burn by Molly Aitken. Irish, a fierce, electrifying novel of power, patriarchy, and sexuality inspired by the true story of the first woman in Ireland to be condemned as a witch. This looks great. It just says in the 13th century, a woman with power is a woman to be feared. Yes. Great. Looks great. I love this cover. Then, The Wilds by Lewis Baird, a novel in 5 acts, obviously about Oscar Wilde and his wife. I am a big, huge fan of Lewis Baird. I don't know if you've all read The Pale Blue Eye or happened to see the movie on Netflix. Jackie and Me was his last book. He has so many books under his belt. I'm also really excited to tell you all that I will be interviewing him for this channel. So look out for that. But I can't wait to sit down with him. I can't wait to read this. I haven't started this yet, but look for that. And this comes out on the 17th. Also on the 17th, Frighten the Horses by Oliver Radcliffe. This is, I think this book comes out from Roxane Gay's imprint, and it's a fascinating true story of a woman who is a housewife, has gone through her whole life, and she's trying to stay afloat with kind of a semblance of normalcy when she knows that something is absolutely wrong. And ultimately, she transitions. And so it's his story and what happens. Also, I think this cover, again, is just so great with the pump left in the back as the motorcycle takes off. I think this sounds fascinating. I can't wait to read this. That's out the 17th as well. Then I'm sure this will certainly be a big novel of just nothing more than curiosity, which is Richard Osman's We Solve Murders. This is his first book that is not a Thursday Murder Club book, but this is about a father and daughter crime-solving duo. So we will see. It's getting good early reviews. I saw a good review in Kirkus. I haven't seen many reviewers other than that, like the normal folk review it yet, but excited to see what this one does. And the final book is from George M. Johnson, who has one of the most banned books in the country with All Boys Aren't Blue, which is a fantastic book, by the way. This is his new book called Flamboyance, The Queer Harlem Renaissance, I Wish I'd Known. While many iconic figures in 1920s Black America may not have been public about their sexuality at the time, they still found ways to express their identities in essays, songs, poetries, and other art forms. And it wasn't always pretty or polite. From high society weddings to raunchy music and friendship feuds, George M. Johnson delivers all the juicy details in 12 short biographies of these iconic flamboyants, like Langston Hughes, Ma Rainey, Zora Neale Hurston, or Josephine Baker, whose sexualities have been obscured throughout history. Interspersed with Johnson's personal narrative and their own poetry, Flamboyance illuminates how American culture has always been shaped by people who are both Black and queer. Award-winning author and illustrator Charlie Palmer brings these flamboyant writers, artists, and activists to life on the page through gorgeous full-color portraits. In their contributions to American thought and culture, these figures left a roadmap for the future, a future where people like George M. Johnson and others, maybe even you, can not only live publicly as queer people, but can create art fully immersed in a queer experience and lead a flamboyant life. So that's, I am so silly. And I don't have a copy of it. And so I completely almost forgot. But how can I miss coming out also Intermezzo by Sally Rooney? I'm really excited about this one, as I know so many of you also are about two brothers, one who is a very successful lawyer and the other is a competitive chess player. I'm excited to see, I was going to say how she focuses on just a male narrative, but she's done it in her other books with other things too, so it's not new. But I just love her writing. I think she's just incredible. So this is out here September 24th. So I absolutely will be reading that. So yeah, so let me know what you guys think. What are you interested in? Do any of these get you excited for September? Can you believe that summer is basically over? I'm sure if you have kids, most of them are back to school. I'm actually leaving today to tour, which is Sunday, to tour schools in the South with my daughter for college. So I'm going from one hot climate to hotter climates. I'm excited. Can you tell? Anyway, I hope you all are well. I hope you all are having or have had a wonderful week, and I will see you all soon.